if you need to go and check out now,
We'll start late.
we'll start
I
later.
would rather,
18,
let me see if I can.
Yeah, I think that's the last
Time
one.
to look at it.
With the, you know, with the worship service.
Yeah, because you wanna get vested and then get unvested, divested. Yeah.
All right, the screening's going, the Zoom's going, I'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Okay.
Time.
Brother Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
Could
Anyway,
you
I'm
check
in the
and see
room.
if they can check out later and go to the front desk?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
66.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry?
Quickly, I see.
Maybe.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, conversation 18, but yeah, that, I remember discussing that a long time ago.
Yes, I don't think it would have been on.
Well, I wasn't either, but I think it came up.
But anyway, okay, I just wanted to bring that to you.
Thank you, Abigail.
Is there anybody else that needs to be checked out today that we need to remind?
Texas contingent.
I think just the four of them are the only four that I know that are leaving
That's
early.
gonna do a graduation.
All right.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Dick Dufresne said they were checking out
Two friends?
at table, yeah. Is that right? It was just an informal. I may have heard that wrong, but it'd be worth checking.
I thought they were leaving today, but I didn't know for sure.
Well, that changes things in terms of our meal counts, what we're gonna be charged for. Cause I had included them as staying for a third night.
Okay, well, maybe they are, maybe I misunderstood.
Well, we'll clarify that
I don't
before
want to leave it as checked.
before I
Yeah.
panic.
There
And
they are.
here's the man himself.
Are you leaving, Jim? Are you leaving today or tomorrow? You're leaving today?
Like after lunch? Okay. Then I need to let Kathy know.
And did you check out of your room?
We're getting checked out, yes.
Okay.
Get it all cleared up.
Because you have to have checked out at the front desk by 10.
Yes.
Okay. So we're trying to sort out people and make sure everybody who's leaving today
Yeah.
knows they had to have done
I got
that.
a note on the door.
Yes. So they knew you were leaving today.
Yes.
I'll let Kathy know so that she'll know our meal count is different for dinner and,
If you need to go see her, we're gonna start late. So,
I'll send her an email. Cause I don't know when she comes into the office. Come on.
I can find it.
It's okay. Yeah, the habit.
There you go, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sister Jen, you can do for morning prayer tomorrow.
Yes.
Will you be able to read the psalm for us?
Sure. Do you know what you're trying to look at?
It's in the beginning book. I do, and I do you borrow one. 'Cause I- Yep.
No, I can't find it.
It's, just for a second, and I can see.
Crash, bang. Would you like to sit next to me?
Now that you cleared the space.
Did he sign this or what is in the book? Cause there are two that are mushed together.
here's a red book.
Oh, no, hang on, oops, hang on.
Yeah, I can read whatever you want me to.
Here it is, these songs are weird order, 95, 96, 100, 23, 8. I'm confused, I don't know, anyways, but it says those. And it's just, this is just that,
I got one.
and we just read it, and we change it.
Okay.
But what we're gonna do is we're gonna sing, because he says it starts
I'm
singing
glad
at the
you know
beginning.
that. Sometimes I wonder about
I
that.
Read the song.
Good thing you know.
And then we'll sing at the end as well. Yeah.
Get
I'll
together
have
with me.
Alright, wait,
I
that's
can't
fine, that'd be
figure out
awesome,
when it
and I
is
can give you
scheduled for
my
you to
book,
do
so,
that.
Okay.
I need,
but that's the one.
I need to
It's
go to
good,
the
yeah,
officers.
It was the two that were mushed together.
Yeah.
right?
Eucharist is.
He said it would be just fine.
10:45.
Thank you very much.
And we have nothing after that before lunch.
Right, we can do that.
I was not
Eucharist for lunch.
looking
How
forward
much
to
time do you
being
want?
inhabited
Half
out of the
hour.
trunk of a car.
10:45, that should be done.
11:45.
11:45.
Brother Mark, you're gonna let me know if Perkins doesn't
We
pick
have
up
time
the bill.
after lunch and before.
Yeah, I think
Correct.
there's.
We do a 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock,
Just be mad if
officers, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, you wanna meet it here?
Bits here and there. you might-
Well, I don't want-
I will, thank you.
I would like some privacy and I don't want it streamed.
Right, okay.
Sister Diane, has this info been
This is-
Yes, I
there
have it,
when
thank you,
he
I'm
goes.
disseminating it now.
Oh, I got it.
We will stop streaming as of the end of the session this morning, correct?
Well,
Yeah, so
it doesn't,
not be.
you know, no strokes and there's strokes.
Well, he's such a good
So we
guy,
could meet
according
in
to the
here
folks who,
At
you
1.
know, have lived with him and
Keep the
worked
door
with him.
locked until people come in
He's
at
not a
1:30.
politician, so to speak.
I mean, Mark and I are here until this evening, we're just not staying the night.
We're here till about 3:15.
It's 3:15, is that what it is?
Well, we're, you know, we gotta get back, turn in the car and all that good stuff. Let's,
I need about a half-hour officers meeting. I'm trying to figure out at what time and at what place that I can just get the officers together and not bump the rest of you out of having a place to be since you're out of your rooms.
oh, I see.
And by after lunch, having you all hang out outside is not a pleasant alternative.
Making,
Unless it's in the pool.
Anyway, Scott, we're,
The officers may.
I wanna be moving toward the airport at 3:30.
The sad part is come already.
you know, it's moving very fast.
I don't think any of us have a room that has a couch in it, do we?
No.
We could probably just meet at, stay in the dining room and go down to the other end at one of the tables.
Probably could do that.
What would
That
the
would be
meditation
comfortable.
chapel work?
We could, but I think, I think it's sufficiently private.
We can leave the dining room over here, or you could come over here and we can.
Well,
stay
I'd
in the
like to
dining
leave
room.
this room for you guys, for the people who are not part of that, who don't have rooms to go
Right,
back
that's what I'm
to.
saying, either we could be here, or we could be in the dining room, and you could be here.
I will invite the officers to stay in the dining room and meet with me at 1 o'clock down at the far end of the dining room someplace. If there are stray people from other groups, they will be clueless as to what we're talking about.
Press them into service.
Are we waiting for anybody else?
I'm gonna send a quick email out to the people who were on Zoom yesterday, and then the new link.
Can I make an announcement then to people who are here? For those people who are not leaving already today, at morning prayer tomorrow, morning prayer will begin at 7:30 in the same place. But anytime after 7, if you are interested in walking the labyrinth to live music, I'll be there with my recorder and happy to play so that anybody who wants to walk the labyrinth before morning prayer is invited to do so.
Oh, thank you.
Did you also say they could walk it after?
Yeah, and we've been finishing with a good 10 minutes before breakfast, so I can stay after for a bit too.
And we have Eucharist and mid-morning prayer in the meditation room beginning at
10:45.
10:45. So we will need to be out of here, 10 8:30 at the latest, but I would think 10:15 if we possibly can, so I will make a note to myself to, wherever we are at 10:15, to wrap things up.
Oh,
They didn't graduate yesterday, the caps and gowns came in, so they'll put them on to get the pictures taken.
yeah. So oh, right, so the graduation's happening later, but Hazel is graduating.
Hazel's graduating this weekend.
That's so exciting.
All right.
Does Hazel like having long hair?
Oh, yes, it's absolutely non-discussable. Long hair is required.
Oh, no, I'm just, you know,
Yes,
it can be enjoyable learning to do things with it and learning to. Very nice. Yeah. High school graduations.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I didn't know we had 5 general officers.
Past habit is considered one of the general officers.
Okay.
So you're stuck. So you're not really getting out.
Not yet.
Are you far enough along, Diane, that I can start with?
Yeah, I mean, I sent out the information, so
Okay.
when they get it, it's there, up to them. So, thank you.
A couple announcements, I have a few other agenda items I'm going to bring up. You've gotten a handout from Sister Jeanette because she had asked for time to discuss the reimbursement policy. I need to make an announcement because I think I caused a distribution of something yesterday that you need to understand. I probably shouldn't have. When we were having the crosstalk of what to distribute, I heard we were trying to get customary to people. I think what was meant was we were trying to get the lectionary to people. So some of you got copies of the customary that was meant to go to the DORT members. You are very welcome to look at the customary. You are very welcome to provide comments on the customary to Brother Dwight. That is a draft. That is not an official document, and will go through revisions on the way to becoming an official document. And it is a document not written by DORT collectively. It is a document written by Brother Brendan. And so give him your feedback. He would be delighted to get it, but it is something he has written and has asked us to comment on. And it's in many little pieces at this point, and from the avid discussion of it last night, he is expecting lots of comments. But it is looking at the different services and sort of how could you put together comments that you could give to people who are leading them, to give them a sense of what would be advice, and trying to find a way to say this is how we have learned that it works well. That is advice, it is not demand, it is not thou shalt, but it is something more than just, oh, and here's one way you could do it. So it's how we have seen it work well. I keep hearing sounds, I don't know if that's somebody trying to say something.
I think he was just logging in.
Oh, okay.
His mic wasn't off yet.
Okay. But you're welcome to comment on that, but do not assume that that is in any way yet official. And you were gonna say something to that?
I was gonna say, we had a document called a customary, probably been 15 years ago now.
Right.
Does this
That's a customary for the life of the order. This is a customary for offices and services at retreat.
Gotcha. And are we gonna subtitle these so that it's clear which is which? it's just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this carries a customary
Desire.
for the praying of the offices and services of the Order of St. Luke in community.
There is somewhere floating around a customary for the provincial general as well. It's been around for a while. I wrote it.
Oh, I think I may have that, because you gave me a lot of documents.
Yeah.
But, as I said, because it got distributed yesterday and it doesn't say draft in big letters on it, I wanted you to know that you are privileged to see this, but do not assume that this is an adopted or an even ready very soon to be adopted. It is a draft that you are welcome to comment on. And
May I see it? I have not seen it.
I bet I sent it to you.
I know, but I did not get anything.
Maybe I didn't. Let me see
Well,
if I
maybe
can
it's in my
rectify
spam
that, Brother
folder.
French.
I'll check my spam folder.
it should be an email with 10 attachments.
Ah, let's treat it.
So that was my leftover from yesterday. The next item on the agenda, as we left it yesterday, was issues or comments on the October retreat, which we talked a little about this year's October retreat, but you had information on next year's October retreat as well.
I do. And I am generally prepared to speak about it. I'm going to send a document around to you. I'm excited about this possibility, or this happening. I'm sending you an information about a woman named Debbie Thomas. She is a writer for Christian Century. Matter of fact, in the current issue, she's a contributor, a regular contributing editor, and she's good. She writes wonderful stuff. So I got a hold of her and I said, would you consider being a speaker for our 2023 retreat, OSL retreat? I gave her information about the order, and I have had subsequent conversations with her over Zoom. She's become a nice friend, and so I'm looking forward to her coming. We talked about the subject matter, and her, as you can see, her information there, she is on the staff of the St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Palo Alto, California, as the Minister of Lifelong Formation, which means she has a lot to do with spiritual development and encouragement in the life of that church. She also writes for Journey with Jesus, if you know the Dan Clendenin commentary resource for preaching.
Her commentary has changed the way I've preached several times.
And her commentary is, as a matter of fact, Dan asked her to take over the website. She wasn't quite ready to do that, but is writing many, many things for it. She has a book coming out this spring as well. Anyway, her topic, as I've indicated here, will be sacred connection, engaging spiritual practices in a turbulent world. And the subtext is how Christian leaders make a case for robust spiritual practice in a culture that is harried, distracted, wounded, and weary.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Yes. And so she's outlined those 3 sessions for us. And she is just a delightful person, and I'm excited. On your behalf, I invited her to be our speaker for 2023, and she said yes.
Well done, Brother George.
So I'm looking forward to having her come to our retreat. And we know we'll be in Pittsburgh.
So make
Questions?
your reservations now, it's cheaper.
Yes, if they'll let you make a reservation a year plus in advance. And I have to say this also, in my report, in the book of reports, I highlighted 2 dates in red, and that was for the spring council meeting and the retreat. Those dates are wrong in the book of reports. I thought I had corrected them before I left home, or before I sent it out to you, but I didn't. But the spring council meeting will be the 9th, 10th, 11th of May.
Starting on a Wednesday.
No, that's a Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Presuming people will arrive on Monday, so we can do pretty much what we've done this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, up until lunchtime. And then in October, the retreat dates will be the 16th through the 19th.
I wondered if it was another early one. Cool.
No, it's right smack dab on
Woo.
St. Luke's week,
This is next year, 2020.
2023.
Thank
And so that's 2023 in a nutshell for OSL gatherings in person.
Are there questions for Brother George?
While I have the floor, can I have one other subject matter?
Yep.
And that is the last couple of years we've had an invitation go out to the Hickman Award recipients, inviting them to be our guest for the retreat. We pay the cost of the retreat for them, but not the cost of their transportation to get wherever we are. And we've had one person in each of the last 3 years when we have done this who took us up on that. And so it's been a minimal cost of, what, $350 to comp that person that room. I don't know how, someday 17 may ask us to come.
We should be so lucky.
And we should be so lucky. But I would like to know whether or not you'd like us to offer that again this year.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
It's a great idea.
I'm sensing a unanimous make that offer.
All right, I will be making that
I'm-
offer and inviting them to register early and often.
Since the number is so small, could we offer a scholarship to one person to also fund, say, $500 or whatever of travel?
Thoughts?
I second that.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I could do that.
Sometimes seminaries have that available, so maybe that would be, maybe we'd say, all right, you wanna come? We've covered your retreat costs,
George, what was the dates?
start talking to your seminary, and if that's really a problem, let us know. But maybe, maybe you can get some money there too.
Oh, thank you.
Except that they're leaving seminary
Oh,
and the seminary,
that's
will-
true.
they're graduating
That's true, because it's
seniors.
graduates.
There's been one
You're right,
case where
you're
we
right.
didn't have a graduating senior, but we made an exception in that case.
You're absolutely right.
We've also made an exception for Boston School of Theology this year. They're going to give 2 awards.
Oh, that's how that shook out.
Yeah. I like the idea, but I also think that many of the recipients are going into pastoral ministry, and local churches can cover some of that cost as well. That means they have to be invited to ask their local church to do that, because they may not be ready to think about professional business expenses or anything like that at this point, at a young point in their career. But I think limiting it to the registration, I think, is best.
Okay.
So do you send that out to them directly? You have their email addresses? Or,
I actually get street addresses for them because I send them I send them 4 things. A certificate that's signed by the abbot and sealed with our seal. Second of all, they get a letter from me saying thank you or congratulations and making the offer to come to the retreat. They also get a statement about who Hoyt Hickman was, written by Brother Daniel, which is a good profile of our brother Hoyt. And what's the 4th thing I sent? Oh, a registration form to have them come to,
Right, right.
which I might change to say, here's how you register, put a piece of paper in that say, go to the OSL website and do it this way.
Can I offer a suggestion to that?
Sure.
Brother George, would you have any objection if, say, the recipient is willing to come, but says, you know, I really don't have any money to travel? Would we be willing to offer scholarship at that point, up to $500?
I would say yes, we could do that because we do have a contingency in our budget for scholarships.
Yes,
So I would think
if
yes.
somebody gets jammed up.
If I could pick up on that, because that's what I was thinking. One thing we can say when we offer this to them is that if the transportation cost is prohibitive, we do provide scholarships to attendees, and to apply for that, you need to send a letter to the abbot, because that's the scholarship. I mean, put them into the normal scholarship process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough money that everybody can ask for a scholarship. But I would like it not to be inventing a new scholarship process, but I want them to know that we do have a process, that people don't get excluded for financial reasons. If somebody can think of better wording for that.
Well, I wonder if in there it should say scholarships are provided on a limited basis, or just something that
Yes.
covers us just a little bit,
Yeah,
you know, on that.
yeah.
And I would say if we had 3 or 4 who wanted to have the help, we could maybe divvy up the money and not maybe up to $500, but maybe not $500 each one. You know, but we just have to use some prudent
Yeah.
business sense at that point.
Yeah, but I would like us not to put any kind of rules around it other than
Yep.
scholarships are available on a limited basis, contact the abbot.
Right.
And as Sister Ann said once in Texas, you don't ask, you don't get. So we, gotta get them engaged in conversation with us and that.
And how much we will give depends on, if I get 10 requests for scholarship, they're all going to be quite a bit smaller than if I get 1.
Right.
Can I ask if you often get requests for a scholarship?
No,
Okay.
no. I think it's kind of a kept secret. It doesn't need to be.
Right.
We,
There have been people who have contacted me and said, I really want to come because of the subject matter, but I can't afford it, and I have said they need to talk to the abbot. There's been 1 or 2, I don't remember a lot,
not a lot,
handful.
but we get the requests and I am happy to get the requests. But if anybody ever asks you about it, do not discourage them. Thank you for bringing that up, Brother Scott. Page. Does that take care of your questions, Sim?
I think that handles what I had.
Brother Brendan,
Yes.
we talked briefly last night about the Lucan lectionary, but I think we want to talk about it in this full audience. You say a bit to us about
let me try to encapsulate this as much as I can, but be as clear as I can about it. The suggestion came from Abbe Daniel in some email correspondence, I don't remember what it was from, who was decrying the fact that sometimes when we gather at retreat or indeed at council, the daily lections don't speak to what we are doing or the formation of our community in that particular instance, although our commitment to them overall is clear. And he was wondering about the possibility of our having, he used the term Lucan lectionary, which I picked up, which I now realize is not a very wise term. So let me back away from that term and use a different one. And of course, being a scholar, I have to put it in Latin. So I want to talk with you for just a minute about a communitate liturgicum, tempus liturgicum, which is the liturgical time of a community of faith. A community of faith's liturgical time. If we were Roman Catholic, and we were in a church or a community devoted to a saint, a sage, a time might be set apart for that community of faith to observe that particular person of faith. In that tradition, the diocesan bishop says, yes, it's all right for you to do it in that limited situation. We're not saying you disregard the whole lectionary church here. They would say, no, in this specific, what's the term they use? Particular custom, the particular custom of a community related to a mentor, a saint. And it struck me that's exactly what we're talking about. So the suggestion is that we recognize that when we gather, we are in this community's liturgical time of a Lucan season. And then that season brings with it strong scriptural foundation. And we have already done this, and I have included in a rough draft here some things of the Feast of St. Luke in the Lucan Book of Feasts. We've got festive evensong, we have morning prayer, we have things from previous editions that deal with the service of the table during that time. We have a whole list of it, including back in the days of the spiral bound, we had a vigil with 7 lessons in it, in addition to the others. So we've already got this corpus of a kind of a Lucan canon. If we add the others from that, I looked up the additional lections in other denominational resources. Interestingly, they're the same ones that we've got, except for 3 of them. The Lutherans give us another one in Isaiah. The BCP and RCs give us another one in still another one in Isaiah, and the BCP and the Roman Catholics give us another one in Ezekiel. All right, so that's the foundation that we've got. Then we add to that Psalms with the lections selected from Luke Acts that will, and my suggestion is that this be seen as a living document, that each chaplain general, in terms of working with the theme of the year and the Lucan lenses, both. Lucan lenses on the theme of the year and the theme of the year. Develop this, add more to it. Every year it should get bigger. Add maybe only one new passage some years, and some years whole passel of them. And then we'd have a reservoir to use for morning prayer, for evening prayer, and for a working table, and for the festive evensong. So there are really 4 services that we're talking about. So that's it. And the question is, I think the basic question, the basic practical liturgical theology question is, does the council, standing in as the diocesan bishop, I mean, this is the authority. This is the authority group. Does it say, yes, this is legitimate? We can depart from what we usually do for a Lucan season. Obviously, I think it's a good idea, but I want to make clear it was Abbe Daniel's idea that I've just gotten on and written it for all it's worth. Potential spam, I don't think I'll answer.
Brother Mark?
Do we have this document yet?
Yes,
That's the one I sent with the 10 attachments, and it's number 1 of the 10.
Okay.
and it's the very last part of it.
When did you send that?
Yesterday.
Though, to be honest, I realized Brother French said, I don't have it, and I thought I sent it out to everybody. When I went to send it out, I looked around the table and I wrote down everybody's email addresses. I saw faces around the table. So Brother French was actually out of the room, so my apologies, I didn't send it to you because you weren't there. So if you weren't around, if I did it while you were in the bathroom or out for a walk, I can.
I was probably getting water.
Yes.
And then I trust the document, I trust the concept. My one question is, what would we define as a Lucan season? Would that be council and retreat, or when would that be?
The way that I've said is that when it meets, the gathered Lucan community can experience a season.
So that would
A
incorporate.
chapter retreat,
Mm-hmm.
a chapter meeting.
Right.
It says when we meet, we could choose to do this if it would be helpful to our spiritual development.
So I want to ask a kind of practical, how does it get implemented question. So is this right that the chaplain general would take this list, say, okay, what's going on in October, who's our speaker, what's our theme, what are our services, what days are we here, and kind of create, this is the lectionary for October retreat 2022.
The point is to take it out of the hands of individual worship leaders, quite honestly.
But not out of the hands of the chaplain general.
But not out of the hands of the chaplain general. And the only thing that I would add, Sister Heather, is that work of the chaplain general is always done in consultation with the abbot.
Okay, yeah.
So the abbot may say, we've got this theme, talk with Brother George about what might be, so another time that might not be as it. So
Yeah.
maybe I ought to put that in there too, about communicating with the prior general with regard to the theme. That should be specific. I'll put that in.
Brother George?
I'm waiting for him to make his note before I ask my question. How, if at all, does it relate to the use of the Revised Common Lectionary? Is there an interaction between them, or is it a separate animal?
It is a separate animal. The technical word would be it suppresses the Revised Common Lectionary during the days that we use it. Unless it happens to, as sometimes it would, speak to it.
Well, for example, we are dancing around the Ascension lessons this week.
Yeah.
But we're a week ahead of that. So we're not technically interacting with the Revised Common Lectionary, but we are.
Because, and this is a very good example, because Abbot Elizabeth, in consultation with the chaplain general, said, the week following this are two important feasts. This is a good example for a good time for us to have that. They're a part of our life as a Lucan, as the Order of St. Luke. That should be, those should be things that we experience together. In that kind of community way, yes, it then picks that up. And it's not that it can't be used, it's just that we're not obligated to the one for the day of that.
But we were making a decision of what to use this time in the absence of a Lucan lectionary, which would have put us back to the Revised Common Lectionary unless we chose to do something else. And we chose to go to the feasts and say, is there a feast that otherwise many of us would not have had any occasion to lift up those feasts because we're not in worship situations where either ascension or visitation would have been a part of what we normally would experience in our churches.
If I could go back, I probably would take it, but it was Abby Daniels' word, and it's fine, it seemed all right to me. I think I wouldn't even talk about lectionary. I talk about it as a Lucan season and a reservoir of readings that are related to, and they are assigned by the chaplain general. that a kind of electionary? It is, but it's electionary for 1 week, 1 year, I mean.
For one
it's a very
purpose.
specific kind of thing. I don't think the word electionary helps us there.
I just had another thought, which there could be a Lucan take on this. Every once in a while, you get close to Corpus Christi, when we're together at council.
Can you turn up the volume?
Oh, sorry, I know. I really try to make it like I'm not shouting at people, but.
Go ahead and
then I-
shout.
Then I get the other problem. And I'll speak it to everybody, although it's kind of Brother Brendan moves to everybody. I was wondering, putting a set of propers in for Corpus Christi.
The 5-volume
Right.
daily office of the 90s does that.
Uh-huh.
So, sure.
Because I know we've done it for a council service somewhere in the past, because I preached it.
It's there. I had a terrible experience. When we moved, got everything out, couldn't find my 5 volumes of that. Thought that's all right, I've got a suitcase with the back collections of that. Went to the suitcase, I'd given them all away. I only had one set of them left. Couldn't find it anywhere. Wasn't where it was supposed to be. Enlisted my caregiver, we went through the boxes that were still in the closet with things not related to unpacked things. All the boxes were unpacked, except the very bottom one. And do you know what it said on the top of it? Open first for.
Which is exactly what you did.
Opened it first? Well, I opened it last. Anyway, that's it. But I find myself turning back to those volumes. Quite honestly, they were ill-conceived. I was learning. And I was writing cathedral offices for everything. You know? Full-blown things. So developed that even Dwight never did them. So, if the person that develops them doesn't, that's also. So we needed to move on, and we did. Thank you. I hope that's, if you have any other suggestions, this is, now, I would like to put just a footnote about, this is not a document that's going to, we want it to be in the hands of the chaplain general in time for next fall's retreat. So if you have responses, do that. I'll process them. Because it's under my name, I can make some decisions that I would say that we might not say as a group, but if I get strong feelings from people, I'll also make that available in there. Others would suggest, or it has also been suggested, or something like that. Or getting, as we discovered last night, there's some things that I fully agree with, I just haven't said it, and some things that I didn't think I agreed with.